Hello and welcome. We are so glad that you're able to join us today. This is to the Alaska Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us. As we get started, we have a few housekeeping announcements for you. All of our attendees can use that Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. You can ask a question to a specific school or program. You can also ask a more general question for all of our representatives to answer. Your camera and microphone are off, so we cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. This presentation is being recorded, as are all of our presentations. They'll be available within about a week at the same website where you registered. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters. Our first presentation today will be from the University of Washington.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen super quickly. So thank you for the introduction. I am Lieutenant Sarah Boggins. I'm the Air Force ROTC Scholarship and Admissions Advisor at the University of Washington. So I am here to speak just very briefly about the scholarship opportunities that are available through Air Force ROTC. And I help students that are located in Washington, Alaska. So I'm your regional director. And if you do have any questions about the application process, I've personally been through it myself. I'm a recent college graduate. So, and I went to college on an Air Force ROTC scholarship and had everything paid for, walked away 100% debt free. So it's a really surreal experience, and I'm here to help you through that process. So like I said, I'm Second Lieutenant Sarah Boggins, and I work out of the University of Washington. And the scholarships that are available to you are if you are a senior in high school, you can now apply for what we call the High School Scholarship Program. And it's a general application, and you can apply, and you will receive one of three types of scholarships. We have a Type 1 scholarship, which covers all tuition at a public or private institution. A Type 2 scholarship, which covers up to $18,000 at a public or private institution. And then last but not least, a Type 7, which covers tuition at an in-state public tuition rate. So those are the three scholarships. You would receive one of the three, and each of them comes with a $900 annual book stipend, as well as a yearly living stipend, monthly living stipend that increases with each year that you would be participating in the program. And the outcome of ROTC is that you would get your college degree at one of the colleges that does offer Air Force ROTC across the nation. We have over 1,100 programs nationwide that you can attend in the United States or Puerto Rico. So you would go through college, you would receive your college degree, and you would commission as an officer in the United States Air Force, which is what I just recently went through. So I went to a school in North Carolina, and I got my bachelor's in applied mathematics. And right out of college, I had a guaranteed job in the Air Force as an officer. And so if you are interested in applying to the high school scholarship or just about the program in general, I'm the person to contact. So that's my contact information there. You can also, if you're interested in applying to Air Force ROTC at the University of Alaska Anchorage, you can contact Captain Ledke at the University of Alaska Anchorage. That's her contact information right there in the slides. And you are also able to contact, if you're not interested in going to college right after school, right after high school, but maybe you want to do it sometime down the road, but you want to get started right in that hands-on job out of high school, and you do have a desire to serve, then you can contact one of our enlisted recruiters that are in Alaska. They're there to help you. They're very passionate about what they do, and they're excited to speak to you if you do want to get started in a job right away. So that's their contact information there on the screen, and they also have some really cool QR codes that you can scan and contact them that way as well. But again, I am here to help you if you need anything. Like I said, I've been through this process recently. I got so much out of the program itself, and the fact that I had my entire undergrad education paid for, and now I have a guaranteed job that I'm loving. I'm living in Seattle, Washington for my first assignment on active duty. It's a surreal experience, and I got so much from the program, and that's why I'm here to share it with you today. So that's it for me, and I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen and pass it on to the next representative. And if you didn't happen to catch my contact information, I can absolutely throw it in the chat afterwards. But thanks so much for your time.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing more about ROTC and Air Force opportunities. Our next presentation will be from the University of Oregon.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for introducing me. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. So my name is Ryan Bottomore. I'm an admissions counselor at the University of Oregon, and I'm also a former student. So I not only can answer any questions that you may have about student life, but I can also definitely talk to you about the University of Oregon and our admissions process. I definitely have a few slides for you, just showing you where we are located in the state of Oregon. So we're located in Eugene, Oregon, the second largest city in the state of Oregon. We're about an hour drive away from the Pacific Ocean, as well as about an hour away from the Cascade Mountains. So there's a lot of things to do, in the city of Eugene and the western half of Oregon that students get to experience during their undergraduate career. This is the most up-to-date photo that we have of our campus. It's a 295-acre campus. You can actually get from one side of campus to the other in about 10 to 15 minutes. Once you're familiar with campus, it's really easy to navigate. You can definitely cut down that cut down that time from 10 to 15 minutes, maybe about 5 to 7 minutes. You can definitely find those shortcuts. I wanted to give you an instance of what the weather's like in Eugene, Oregon. You can see clear blue skies. You might have heard of the stereotypical, it constantly rains in the Pacific Northwest. And although we do get our rain, and that's why we're so green, but we get the 4 seasons in Eugene. We get the rain, we get the sunshine, we even get some snow, we get it all. And it's kind of a gradual change each season. And it's absolutely beautiful year round. So an overview of our campus, we're a middle to large size university where we have about 23,000 students in total, roughly around 19,000 are our undergraduate population. So we're really heavily focused in that undergraduate experience. We have students coming from all 50 states as well as about 100 different countries. So when you are in your classrooms, your clubs and organizations, you'll be meeting students all across the world. And I think that is a very unique experience and just learning from different cultures and different identities from individuals all across the world. We have about 240 majors, minors, concentration, certification programs all across the University of Oregon campus, and they are split up amongst 9 different schools and colleges. So when you choose a major, you might be listed under, one of these particular schools or colleges. The first one, College of Arts and Sciences, makes up about 60%, and some of our notable majors include human physiology, biology, marine biology, English, anthropology. It makes up about 60% of our majors at the U of O. We also have the Lundquist College of Business, where you can go through the School of Accounting or do the Business Administration major. College of Design, Architecture, Product Design, Art and Technology, Art History. We have the College of Education, where if you wanted to be an elementary, middle school, high school teacher, counselor, social worker. We have the School of Journalism and Communication, which is all about, storytelling. Are you going to go through journalism, advertising, media studies, public relations? Do you want to do TV broadcasting, write for newspapers, magazines, things of those sorts? The School of Music and Dance, whether you want to major in that particular school, music composition or music performance. We have about 40 ensembles that you can continue, playing an instrument, singing and dancing without actually majoring in it. But like I said, we have multiple different schools, all across the University of Oregon campus. And, we have 240 majors and minors to choose from. If you don't know, that's perfectly fine. The biggest proportion of students that come in have absolutely no idea, and that is perfectly okay. We have about 300 clubs and organizations for students to be involved in outside of their classroom, whether these are identity and cultural based, maybe these are academic based, or maybe these are just general University of Oregon clubs and organizations. Lots to be a part of, and it's up to you on how you want to shape and mold your undergraduate experience. But the best way to, start off your student life is by living on campus. And I definitely wanted to let you know that it is a live-on requirement for all students their first year. Definitely do your research at housing.uoregon.edu because you are the best person to know, your living situation, which environment you're going to thrive the most in. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our application process. We are a holistic review, so we don't just look at the numbers that you submit to us. We look at you as a person. We obviously look at what type of student you are, so your GPA, your grade trend, your academic courses, and your senior schedule. But we want to know what are you doing outside the classroom as well. We want to know what type of student you are, but we also want to know what type of community member you are. We have gone test optional, so you are seeing that correctly. ACT and SAT scores for fall 2021 and beyond, you're test optional, meaning they are no longer required in order to gain admissions. You're more than welcome to submit them if you have taken them, but like I said, it is optional. And then we have a 650-word personal statement. This is my favorite to read just because it is a blank canvas and it's up to you on how to utilize that blank canvas the best to your abilities. We do have a few prompts, but for the most part, it's up to you on how you want to utilize that space. Here are a few deadlines. I know if you are a senior, an early action deadline is coming up November 1st. We also have a regular deadline of January 15th. Up to you, you can choose one of two of those deadlines, but I just wanted to give you some instance of what that timeline is looking like moving forward. And then I just wanted to give you some instances of what our scholarships look like. For our scholarships, we have gone test blind. So for some of those requirements, it's just based off of your GPA and not actually ACT or SAT scores. But that is the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today. This is my contact information. Like I said, my name is Ryan Bodemore. I am, the territory manager for Alaska. So please reach out to me if you have any questions. More than happy to help. And as always, go Ducks. And I'm going to pass it over to Jennifer.
Great, thank you so much for sharing more. We are excited to hear next from Washington State University.
Lovely, thank you. And thanks so much everyone for being here this afternoon. My name is Sarah Buswell. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Washington State University. For you Alaska seniors, I'm the person that reads your application and answers any encyclopedia-like questions that you might have. So where's the best place to eat on campus? Where should I stay if I'm visiting campus? What's the student life like? Who can I talk to within the psychology department? All of those questions can be funneled my way. This is one of my favorite pictures to start a presentation with, simply because it showcases campus and it's stunning, it's beautiful, but also the surrounding area. And Pullman's location is one of the most unique features about it, is it is pretty rurally isolated. It's far away from a lot of bigger cities, but I think most of our students find that as one of the best features of our campus. When you look off into the distance, you do not see skyscrapers, freeways, highways, a big city metropolitan area. You're looking at a rural agricultural landscape. In Eastern Washington is where you'll find our campus. We're about 4.5 hours east of the Seattle area. Most of our in-state students actually come from the King County, Seattle area. So 4.5 hours from Seattle and about 1.5 hours directly south of the second largest city in the state, Spokane. On a weekend, I get the question a lot of, well, is campus going to empty out? What do students do? Is everyone going back home to see high school friends, to visit their families? And the answer is predominantly no. It takes a lot of time and energy to, say, fly back to Alaska, just as much as it takes a lot of time and energy to drive that 9-hour round trip to the Seattle area. So during the school year, even on the weekends, our campus is full, is vibrant, is full of an exciting student atmosphere. We do get 4 seasons weather on the eastern side of the mountains. The Cascades really keep a lot of that rain and that moisture to the west of us, but you can experience some dry, cold winters. The coldest it got while I was a student at Washington State was -15, so not that cold for an Alaska student in many cases, right? Summers are beautiful, fall and spring are colorful and lush, but you can expect all 4 seasons. We do have 6 ski resorts within a 2.5-hour radius of us. The Snake River is 25 minutes of driving from campus. Hiking, biking, mountain biking, camping, hunting, fishing, it's all within a short drive of campus. This is another one of my favorite photos that you're looking at the main street of downtown Pullman. Again, not a shopping mall, not a huge area, but it's littered with these tiny mom and pop shops. You'll find tiny coffee shops, thrift shops, small kind of restaurants and boutiques. Yes, we have Starbucks and Taco Bell and Dairy Queen and all of those chain restaurants, but for the most part, the businesses that are in Pullman that students frequent are small businesses. There's not really a clear indicator, even looking at this picture, of where campus ends and the city of Pullman begins. And again, I think it's the way that students in the community actually like it, is where it's conjoined right at the neck. And even looking into downtown Pullman, you see WSU logo painted right into the middle of the intersection, WSU flags flying from the light poles. And again, this isn't campus, this is downtown Pullman that we're looking at. There are only 35,000 people roughly that live in the Pullman area, and most of them are students. We have 21,000 total students, undergraduates and graduates, and they make up almost 2/3 of everyone who lives in Pullman. At one point, someone did the math. The average age of a Pullman resident is 22 years old. Most everyone that you see at the grocery store, restaurants, bowling alley, movie theater, it's going to be another college student. We have just over 87,000 hours of community service that our students are putting forth. The student life tends to be a hallmark of life at Washington State. Students choose to go to WSU because they want to be a part of Pac-12 sports, be a screaming fan at the front row of a football game one day and enjoying a symphony or an orchestra concert another day. Students want to be active and join student clubs. They want to join a fraternity and sorority, and those are all examples of opportunities that you have as a student at Washington State University. We have lots of academic clubs, multicultural clubs, fun clubs for students to choose from. My piece of advice is to join 2 clubs to get started. You're doing a lot of transitioning from high school to college, from Alaska to Washington, from feeling like you know everyone to building up your network from scratch. Don't overdo it. Just start with 2 clubs. An academic club is where you will find your network, your peer mentors, learn from professors that you haven't had in the classroom yet, hear about part-time jobs and research opportunities. Those are going through the academic clubs, while your fun clubs allow you to just take a break. Beyonce Club, Chocolate Chip Cookie Club, Disney Club, etc. We have more than 200 different academic programs for students to choose from. They're all non-impacted. Our 4 kind of most strong-held areas are going to be similar to our land grant founding, and that's going to be engineering, agriculture and animal sciences, education, and nursing. We are a WUI school, that stands for Western Undergraduate Exchange. WUI is granted to all Alaskan residents with a 3.6 unweighted GPA or higher, and it's $11,000 each year, all 4 years, bringing the total cost of attendance to just over $27,000. Students with a 3.2 to a 3.59 are receiving the Cougar Award, which is bringing it down $7,000, so $31,000 total for each year. And that's everything that I have for you this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing more about Washington State University. It's great that we're getting some questions in our Q&A, so we hope our attendees will keep asking. You can direct your question to a specific school or program, or you can ask a question in general for multiple programs or everyone to answer and share with you. Our next presentation today will be Oregon State University.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I hope my screen is sharing. I've had some issues with that today, so I'll let a facilitator know if we're good to go.
Heather, it looks good. We can hear you.
Perfect.
And it looks great.
Perfect. Well, welcome to Beaver Nation, everyone. Excited to talk to you about what Oregon State has to offer. So first, the important thing to know is that although our main campus is located in Corvallis, Oregon, Oregon State's reach goes farther beyond just our local community. We have students who are studying all across the United States with our great eCampus program, and we have multiple campuses and opportunities to study abroad and research internationally. So you really do see Beaver Nation all over. We're really proud of that black and orange, and we hope to see you on campus as well. This map gives you a reference to where we're located. Like I mentioned, our main campus is in Corvallis, Oregon. Right now, Oregon State is Oregon's largest public university with over 32,000 students, and about 25,000 of them are located on campus in Corvallis. A smaller portion of our students are located in Bend, Oregon, in the center of the state at OSU Cascades. So if you're looking for Beaver Nation on a smaller scale, you can definitely find that at OSU Cascades. So no matter if you're looking for a big school or small school, OSU has you covered. A little bit about our student life. There's so much for our students to get involved with when they're at OSU. We really want to make sure that your experience is really personal to you and what your interests are, what you're passionate about, what you want to be working on, or maybe just ways to try some new things. So there's a lot of energy and activity on campus every year. Right now, OSU has over 400 different student clubs and organizations. So whether you're joining a academic themed club like the SAU race car team, where they build their own car and they race that at national and international competitions, or you're joining the hammocking club or the Corgi appreciation club, you can definitely find a community for you to get experience or just to meet some new students. You also have, a student government. You have the Orange Media Network if you want to get involved with the radio station. We have 7 cultural resource centers that offer a lot of great support and events and programming throughout the year. Athletics, we compete in the Pac-12. We have intramural sports. So there's a little bit of everything. So you can definitely find your community here at Oregon State. We hope that you get involved when you go to campus. And there's definitely a little bit of everything here at OSU. We do require all of our freshmen to live on campus that first year. So with residence halls, there's a lot of different variety. There's a lot of support built in. You're moving far away from home, and we want to make sure that that first year on campus really feels like home away from home, where you're being able to meet new students. You have the opportunity to get support where you need it. So there are staff members there who can help make sure that you have access to tutoring, or maybe finding out ways to join a student club, or hearing about the most recent event that's happening on campus. So there's a lot of activity built into the residence halls, and some of them are themed to match your academic interests or your personal interests or lifestyle. There's also a lot of great food on campus. So food is very important, and you can actually even get it delivered to your room. And so that is always a great benefit to being on campus. We want to make sure that when you leave Oregon State, you are leaving with more than just your degree, right? You want that diploma. That's obviously the reason why you're going to college, is to be prepared for your career field. We want to make sure that you're gaining experience along the way. It's something that you can talk about in a job interview, or when you're applying to a professional school. You want to maybe have something to put on your resume, an internship to highlight. And so there's a lot of those opportunities at Oregon State. So one of the ways that we make sure our students are getting involved is through research. Right now, OSU is one of only 2 schools in the entire US that has all 4 federal research designations. So very unique thing to be able to say about your school. We also did more than $450 million worth of research in the last year. So, we get funding for things that impact our local community and to the whole world. So these undergraduate students have an opportunity to really be hands-on with their program, no matter what their major is. We also have some great facilities outside of our main campus location. So places like the Hatfield Marine Science Center out on the coast in Newport, where students can study marine biology, oceanography. We own our own college research forest for students to get out there. So we really want you to be hands-on in your program. To give a little glimpse of what we offer, these are our academic colleges, and you can see we have a pretty wide spread, over 200 different academic programs at Oregon State. The QR code is gonna bring you to our Find Your Major tool, where you can navigate between our different programs for more information. So whether you're filtering based off of an academic theme or location, you can get directed to more information. Our largest college on campus right now is the College of Engineering, but we also offer a lot in natural resources and sciences. A lot of students look to us for the health science programs like pre-med, pre-dental, things along that nature. And we have a lot of offerings through our College of Liberal Arts. A little bit about admissions is that we are holistic. So like a lot of the other universities that I've spoken today, we look at a lot of different things on your application, your grades, your progress through your coursework, your essays, personal statements, all very important to Oregon State. We are test optional, so it's up to you if you want to send an SAT or an ACT score for admissions. You won't be negatively impacted if you choose not to send a test score, either for admissions or for scholarships. We do admit, once we admit students, we automatically start considering them for some awards, including the Western Undergraduate Exchange. So you get some money just by applying. We also offer an additional scholarship application to apply for more awards once you're admitted to Oregon State. So a great way to get some funding for school. And just to round out a little information about WUI, we are not major restricted for WUI, but it is competitive. So it's holistic based off your admissions application, but not all students receive WUI, but there are other scholarships out there for you. Thanks for being here today, and I'll look for your questions in the Q&A.
Great. Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing more about Oregon State. Our next presentation today is going to be Boise State University.
Perfect. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Henderson, and I'm an admissions counselor here at Boise State. More specifically, I'm your admissions counselor. So my entire job centers around helping you with the application process, finding scholarships, really anything to you actually physically getting here on our campus. I also graduated from Boise State back in May of 2018, so it wasn't that long ago. I was also a student, so I'm really excited to be here with you all today to share a little bit more about Boise State. You'll also notice that on my slides, there's a QR code on all of them, so during the presentation, feel free to take out your phone, scan that. That will take you to a form to stay better connected with Boise State. You want to learn more about application status, scholarship information, housing, anything like that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So when I talk about Boise State, I always like to back it up a little bit and talk about the city of Boise. So Boise State is located in Boise, Idaho. That is the capital city of Idaho. We're really lucky to be here because there are so many booming industries popping up left and right of us. Because of that, we actually have one of the largest internship programs in the Pacific Northwest, but there's so much to do on campus too. So we have over 200 clubs and organizations on our campus, a lot of ways to get involved and little fun traditions that are always happening. But then there's a lot of things to do off campus too. We're lucky enough in the city of Boise to have a river that cuts right through the downtown city. It actually runs parallel to the Boise State campus. So as you're walking to and from class, there's a beautiful river right next to you. During the summers, it's really popular to float the river. About 35 minutes north of us, we have the largest nonprofit ski resort located just north of us. So it's called Bogus Basin. They do a student season pass for about $200. So if you want to keep that snow recreation, we absolutely have that here. And then of course, we do have different restaurants and entertainment options right across the river into the downtown area. I always like to joke if there was a top 10 list for being on the most top 10 list, Boise might take the cake. You can see that we're one of the safest places to live in America. Boise State specifically is among the top 3 universities for outdoor adventure. So I know when I was a student here, there was just so much variety and a lot that I got to take advantage of. But with that being said, I always was really interested in academics when I was going through my college search process. So here at Boise State, we have 189 different majors and minors to choose from. If you're anything like me, I wasn't quite certain what the perfect academic major was right away. So know that that's okay here at Boise State, but there's a lot to choose from. You can go to majors.boisestate.edu and look through all of our academic programs and see if we have something that best fits you. But I really like to share this chart here. Each year, we decide to survey our incoming students to see what are the most popular majors that students are choosing. And every year it changes a little bit. You can see that business is really popular, nursing and our health science field is really popular, our engineering with computer science and mechanical engineering. So those are some of our popular ones from fall of 2019. But you'll see that that number 2 slot, general undeclared, that actually stays pretty consistent year after year. Students come here, they know and understand the value of receiving a college education, but they're just not quite sure what the perfect program is for them. So they can come in, take that first year, explore a little bit, and really help them narrow down whatever that perfect program is for them. And know here at Boise State that we're dedicated to giving you that individualized academic experience. So while we are the largest college in the state of Idaho, we really make sure that you get to connect with your classmates and your professors. Our average class size room, our average class size is about 30 students to a professor. So you get to know everyone pretty well here. Now on to the application process. Our application process is pretty straightforward. You can find our application at apply.boisestate.edu. There will be a $50 application fee. So once you complete that application, pay the $50, it will get sent right over to us to start reviewing. And then we'll just need one more piece of information to actually make an admissions decision for you. So we'll need your high school transcript. For the fall of 2021, we are not requiring test scores at all. So just know, get that application done, get that transcript into us, and we'll be able to turn around an admissions decision from 2 to 3 weeks after we receive those. And now my favorite part about Boise State is simply by applying to Boise State by December 15th of your senior year, you can automatically be considered for some scholarships. So these are the 2 non-resident scholarships that we can automatically consider for you for if you meet that deadline. There's currently 1 major on our campus that is not eligible for these scholarships, and that is our radiology program. But any other major that you apply with, you can absolutely receive this. Know that our non-resident tuition is right around $25,000 for the entire academic year. So if you got the WUI scholarship, it would drop you down to about $12,000 for the entire year. The treasurer would drop you down to about $16,500 for the entire academic year. You can visit Boise State. So we are doing in-person visits. If you happen to be in town, we're doing 3 visits every Monday through Friday, every single day. So we're making sure that groups are physically distancing, people are wearing facial coverings. But since you're from Alaska and it's a little bit further away, you can also visit this website and see some virtual options if you wanted to connect with our honors college or a specific academic area. And the last thing I want to leave you all with is my contact information. Like I mentioned, it is my entire job to help you through this. So feel free to shoot me an email, give me a phone call, and I'm always happy to help out. Thank you for joining today.
Great, thank you so much for sharing more about Boise State. Our 6th presentation today will be Western Washington University.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? My name is Robert Stolzberg. I'm an admissions counselor at Western Washington University. Here to talk a little bit about Western. A little bit about myself before we get started. I am a Western grad. I graduated in 2014. Unlike Austin, not quite as recent a grad as I'm a very, very old person. I'm also from Alaska originally. I grew up and lived in Fairbanks until I was 18. So anyone from Fairbanks is out there. Hi, West Valley High School. A little bit about Western Washington University. We're going to start off with where we are physically located. We are in Bellingham, Washington, which is on the west side of the state, as the name suggests. We're about an hour away from Vancouver, Canada, and an hour and a half away from Seattle. Bellingham is a medium-sized city, about 83,000 people. So not a teeny tiny college town, not a huge metropolis, kind of right in the middle. Lots of outdoor opportunities available in Bellingham. We are right on the bay. We have world-class mountain biking, hiking, backpacking, trail running trails. We're only an hour away from Mount Baker ski area. Just about any sort of outdoor activity or opportunity that you could be interested in, except maybe not much of a snow machining scene. But other than that, everything is really readily available right here in Bellingham. We are a medium-sized university. We have about 16,000 students, 95% of whom are undergrads, which are students who are getting that first college bachelor's degree. So while we are a medium-sized school, we are like right on the top of what is considered medium-sized. We are almost a large university, but not quite. Our average class size is about 27 students. We have an 18-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And one point that I think is really important, and is not necessarily something that most students are thinking about while they're in high school, is that 99% of our classes are taught by professors. We have very few classes that are taught by graduate teaching assistants. Only sections of English 101, Comm 101, and sub-lab science labs are taught by teaching assistants. We're what's known as a teaching first university. So while all of our professors are involved in research, their number one priority as a Western professor is to you, their student, and is to being there in the classroom and out of the classroom as a resource for you. Speaking of academics, we have about 175 different majors here at Western. Our best known programs are psychology, marine biology, environmental sciences, and education. about 1 in 5 teachers in the whole state of Washington are graduates of Western Washington University. We have an off-campus marine sciences center for our marine biology and environmental science students called the Shannon Point Marine Center. It's about 40 minutes south of Bellingham. And so you may have a class where rather than being in the classroom for an hour and a half, 3 times a week, you have an afternoon once a week that you're down at the Shannon Point Marine Center doing really hands-on work in both the labs and the natural environment down there. And a little bit of repeated information, right? About 16,000 students, 95% undergrad. And getting outside of academics into student life a little bit, we are a little bit different than a lot of the medium and large universities in this area in that we don't have a Greek system. There aren't any fraternities or sororities at Western. So here at Western, student clubs are a really big deal. Everything from serious academic clubs to clubs that'll help get you outside and be active and see what Bellingham has to offer. Things like our longboarding club, our second largest club on campus is our skiing and snowboarding club, backpacking club, and of course clubs that are just to have fun. We have the only United States Quidditch official collegiate Quidditch team in the Northwestern United States, as well as board game clubs, movie clubs. Our newest club is an archery club. A lot to get up to. Almost all students at Western are involved in the club scene. We also have a great outdoor center for any of you who want to try something in the outdoors for the first time. Maybe you've never been snowshoeing before or been backpacking before. That's a great way to get involved. Or if you're someone who's already an expert in your outdoor field, as I'm sure many of you are, there's guided excursions that are led by Western students that can be a really cool employment opportunity. You can get paid to show your fellow students how to have fun and be safe in the outdoors. Onto the application process. We are not on the Common App or the Coalition app. Our application is through our website. We actually have a question in the chat, and thank you, Olivia, for asking that question, because that's something that I forgot to get to. What is the self-designed Fairhaven major? We have a program here at Western called the Fairhaven College of Interdisciplinary Studies, where you can build your own major. If what you want to study at Western you do not see represented in any of our majors, you can design it with help from staff and faculty. So an example of this real quick, we had a number of years ago a student named Brian, who's actually from Juneau, who wanted to go to college to study art therapy. Not a lot of universities have art therapy as a bachelor's degree. So Brian went through our Fairhaven program. He combined psychology and neuroscience classes with art, dance, and music classes to build a degree in art therapy. So that's just one example of the sort of thing you can do. It's a pretty unique program at Western. So thank you for asking that question. Just totally slipped my mind to talk about. On the application itself, application deadline is January 31st. We have an early action deadline of November 1st, but January 31st is when you need to have it in. We're gonna ask for transcripts, your senior schedule. Test scores are gonna be optional, as well as an activities list and an essay that we require. A little low on time, so real quick, our big out-of-state student scholarships. We have the WUI, it's an academic award, $14,000 a year for 4 years, as well as 2 smaller ones that are listed down there. And if any of any questions about student life, academics, the application process, I'll be the one reviewing your application for admissions and scholarship. So please feel free to be in touch if you would like to chat for more than 6 minutes. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. We've got some great questions that have been popping up in the chat. So for all of our attendees, just a quick reminder, this is a great time to throw in those last questions that you might be wondering about each of the schools. To give our representatives a little bit more time to double check, we have some questions in there about different schools having certain majors. So just want to make sure all the representatives are taking a look at that in case they wanted to drop in information about their own program. So to sort of wrap up, while we're answering these last questions for everyone, thanks for coming back on camera, everybody. You're ahead of the game today. I'd like to give you each the opportunity to share a fun fact or something unique about the programs or institution that you represent, and just share sort of one last a little bit with us for our attendees to learn more. So fun fact or unique fact, we'll go in the same order. So we'll start with the University of Washington.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Well, like I said, I'm representing Air Force
Mhm.
ROTC at the University of Washington and all of the different universities that you can do in Air Force ROTC in Washington, Alaska. But something really cool I got to do while I was in the program is I got to go to Colorado Springs to the United States Air Force Academy and participate in a program there called Space 250. I got to learn all about our newly created Space Force, which you can actually become an officer in. And I got to operate a real satellite that USAFA has in orbit. And so that was a really neat experience. And even though that my career field isn't necessarily to do with anything related to space, it was really cool to learn about our newly created Space Force and to operate a real satellite. So that's something really cool that the program can offer to you all.
Ryan, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a former student, so there was a lot of things that I personally enjoyed when I was a student at the U of O. Two traditions, two things that really come to mind that really hit home for me was one of the biggest traditions is, once a fall term and once a spring term, since we are on a quarter system, we hold a street fair. So lining up right on 13th Avenue, which kind of splits campus, we have a bunch of food vendors, shopping vendors come. You can get, an elephant ear or a sandwich, and you just hang out, and it's a really cool, environment and atmosphere to really enjoy, hanging out with friends in between classes. Another one of the traditions that I thoroughly enjoyed when I was a student is the walk to Autzen. So Autzen Stadium is home to our football team, and one of my biggest things was, right before the football games, the community, the UO community, and Eugene, community members all do the walk to Autzen, where you go over the river and through the woods, and you emerge and you see the giant O on the side of Autzen Stadium. But personally, those were two of my favorites, but there was a lot of other things that my friends personally enjoyed, but those are the two things that come to mind.
Yep, you bet. At Washington State University, the tradition that comes to mind that is probably the most fun to be a part of, both as an alumni or alumna of the university, as well as when I was a student, was the bringing the WSU flag to ESPN Game Day. It's been a decades-long tradition where every single ESPN Game Day, wherever it goes, and it's a show that is filmed on college campuses across the nation, kind of showcasing the big football game that everyone's going to be tuning into, there will always be a WSU flag there. And actually let's see, last year or the year before, the flag made its way for the first time ever to WSU Pullman's campus, where game day was hosted at WSU. And we might have played another friend here in the chat, University of Oregon. And the town was, practically tripled in size, where it was thousands and thousands of people. Pullman was at capacity to come watch this flag wave for a television show.
Oregon State, I think my favorite things all have to do with some of the research and discoveries that OSU is responsible for. So, one of our faculty members discovered a brand new shade of blue recently that's in the Crayola crayon boxes. We also discovered bacon flavored seaweed, and you can thank OSU graduates for creating the maraschino cherry, your computer mouse, and the Leatherman tool. So some fun facts about OSU.
For Boise State, I'll do a fun fact tripled with, or coupled, I guess, with a fun tradition. But we, of course, have the blue field, which I think we're most known for. But if you're wildly unathletic, like myself, you can still get on the blue field. So we do yoga on the blue. We do movie on the blue. We also do a toilet bowl with our intramural flag football team. So when our football team's away at an actual bowl game, we'll use the field for our flag football team to use.
Robert?
All right. Well, we don't have Pac-12 football here at Western or in Bellingham, but one of the favorite athletic events for Western students and Bellingham community members in general is the Ski to Sea relay race. It's held every Memorial Day weekend. It's an 8-leg race that sort of highlights the diversity and abundance of outdoor activities that are available in Bellingham. It's a relay race that includes cross-country skiing, downhill skiing, running, road biking, canoeing, kayaking, and mountain biking, all one after the other in a relay, and it ends at a big street fair in our old town. And it's a huge party, and if you're from Alaska, which you guys are, you will invariably be invited to cross-country ski on a ski to ski team, regardless of if you actually cross country ski or not.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing. Those are some great and really fun and neat things to learn about, different experiences that students can have attending your schools or being a part of Air Force ROTC. Thank you so much to all of our attendees for joining us today and submitting so many great questions, and to all of our representatives for sharing so much about their programs and their passion and love for what they do. As we wrap up today, just as a reminder to our presenters, you'll be able to get copies of the questions for follow-up, and also for students, if your question, you want more information, please be sure to contact the representatives, reach out, go to their websites and school and program links to learn more. So again, thanks to everyone for joining us today. And when you close the window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted. You could see that on tonight's schedule, for example. Be sure to sign up for additional sessions. And in about a week's time, you'll be able to find a recording of this session as well as the other session recordings where you signed up. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening, and have a great night. Bye.